Gundam Epyon. Hey again everybody, it's Robert 184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam.tk, and the Master Grade Epyon, sorry about the pronunciation there, is here. All those plates have been turned into hopefully a better version of this old high grade. Here are the main body parts with a huge wingspan, head, chest, shoulders attached to the arms, and the legs themselves have separate ankles and feet units and hips. The weapons include the beam sword with its cable there, and the heat rod. Extra parts include this part for attaching the beam sword to the cable, 4 extra sets of manipulator fingers, then you're going to have 2 custom mounts for the action base, a small figure of Milliardo Peacecraft, and that is the hip mechanism and all the other parts that you're going to need for the chest. Quick reminder that this is of course unpainted, except I used black and gray lining markers, and the red real touch was very useful. Similar to my Master Grade 00 Riser review where I compared that to the 1/100th non-grade, remember though that that's a lot newer than this old 1/100th Epyon from all the way back when Gundam Wing was first making a splash across North America. And there's some interesting things with this. First of all, I didn't build it myself, so that's why I'm not going to review it specifically, but all of these black details that are all put on there were drawn on with a Sharpie, which was probably pretty good technology at the time. A quick note to those of you who grew up with this kit 15 years ago and loved Gundam because of it, you're probably going to hear some unpleasant things when I compare it to the new Master Grade, but remember, this kit was awesome for its time, and nothing can take that away. The feet of the Epyon deserve a lot more attention than they normally would on a Gundam. And first of all, I'm going to start with the Great Yellow, and this is Bandai's been doing better and better. I was impressed with the riser. When you put this black part over the yellow parts, it really stands out. But why this is important is because you may notice there's a clear part there with a green sticker underneath. I chose not to paint that. But you're able to bend this part underneath, and you can open this up, and then you'll notice that you're going to get dragon's teeth. So you have 2 there, and you're going to have the 2 heads of the mobile armor, and they actually look pretty sharp. Here's the old one in contrast. It does have the bend mechanism, and I'm impressed that there's gold parts under there that you put the black part on. This is a solid green part. It's not a clear part. And you put on little black stickers, but there is no angry open mouth mechanism here. How far have Master Grades come? Well, I think the ankles show it off best. You've got this gray part underneath. It's got a complete inner frame that when you put these parts over, it just adds that little bit of color with the red and the gray sticking out there. My only complaint being is that they have these 2 black fins that fit, one on either side. Would be nice if they had given a little purple or red piece there just to cap this one, although because it's on the inside of the ankle, you shouldn't notice it too much. The quality that shows through with this gray inner frame continues with the legs, and I have to say I build a lot of Gundams, as you all know, and it was a treat just to build something as interesting as this. So basically once you build it all up, you'll just put those parts on, then you add the fins here, and the bend mechanism is going to bend there and there, so you're going to get the 180. But the actual legs have a pop mechanism. Let's see if you can hear this. And when you do that, then you're able to move this part, which is all going to help you adjust the dragon head when it's in mobile armor form. So full props to this, but a little bit careful. I almost broke one of these pieces on when I was putting these fins in. They do move somewhat, but just be careful when you do. Something I really like putting this together too that you may not notice under the waist skirts is just that this gray here is different from the gray that's used on the inner frame, and it's little touches like that that make this worthy of being a Master Grade. On the old kit, you'll notice that the knees are the same color as the thighs, and the bend mechanism here is going to come around like this. You can still see all sorts of marks, and it has a bit of a double bend there, so it's going to go all over the place, and there's no pop mechanism to keep everything in place, so this can move a little too freely and also rotate, in addition to just falling off. With design like this, you can see why that might happen. The waist section blew me away with how intricate it is. Again, you've got the gray inner frame that you can see all throughout the insides. There's no kibble on the inside there. This front part could have just been one solid piece, but instead it's 3 separate pieces, and it moves just a little bit. These side parts, again, red on the gray, and you're able to plug in the beam sword energy pack there. More gray showing through there, and then it has an interesting mechanism on the inside. I've opened up here, and you'll notice that this part rotates in, this part rotates, and this part rotates, which is all going to be used in mobile armor form. Just again, be careful that you don't have a little bit. There was a little bit of pressure and some of my parts turned a little bit white when I was snapping it together the first time. On the old one, just a solid part on the front, which is just holding on these skirts so they can come off. Everything's not quite put together as well as it could be, but anyway, when you bend this open, you're able to bend this here at the back, which is going to be used to get the legs forward for the transformation. Night and day here when you look at the quality of everything inside and out. The chest section is an interesting build just because of the amount of colors and small parts that actually put things together, and it's the details like the gray showing through that just makes this kit what it is. So far for the shoulders, you're able to bring them forward and you can move them up and down here, which is actually pretty good. And on the front you've got this red part that you plug in, followed by the white part which covers up a clear part with a sticker underneath. And I was thinking about painting that, but I decided not to. I think that looks better and more similar to my Wing Zero Endless Waltz. And inside here, the cockpit, you have a very tiny, very in the shadows, Milliardo Peacecraft. The neck is on a pivot mechanism, although I wonder how securely this is going to hold the extra weight of the wings on the back. Here's the old chest with the solid shoulders there, and on the front you do have actually a little bit of a stylized difference there, the way that these black parts go down below. Shiny gold chrome, so that's a plus for the old high grade, but it had this giant white color here, which is a little bit off color, which is just covered up by a red sticker on the top. The shoulders were a pleasure to assemble, again because they have this pseudo inner frame, the gray parts which poke out here, underneath the red, purple kind of thing, and the navy blue. Good, nice touches. You have black here. This is actually one piece, and you can see a little bit in the middle, so you could paint that and make that a little more impressive, but I think from a distance, no issues at all. In terms of the actual bend mechanism, the shoulder looks a little bit exposed there, but you're able to bend it up and out here, which is good, and the elbows are going to give you a bend like this and like this. If you had that out of the way, you could bend that all the way 180. Now, down at the bottom, the forearms just have a shield here on the back, but it's again this bright, vivid yellow claw here that's the standout. Put a little bit of lining on there that may pop off on occasion, but you don't just pop this out, it's on a nice double bend mechanism, so when that comes out and then you actually take off the manipulators, this is going to look, well, once you put the arm back together, should look very cool as the dragon's feet. Here's the old high grade shoulders, and you can see that it's just purple parts put together over these navy blue parts, so at least you have a pseudo inner frame, it's not the same color. But you can see how simple the shoulder mechanism, it's just on a rotating part there, and these elbows have to be familiar with anybody who's built old kits from Gundam Wing. You have a rotating part there, and they bend, so you can get a decent bend, but it's certainly not what I'd call secure. Now, the actual claws are good because they give you the shiny gold again, but when they had their spray machine on, they only got part of it, so you've got silver on the insides unless you keep them in tandem. And the manipulators, nothing really fancy, just on a ball joint there with, although this is something over the master grade, they have a 3-finger trigger finger split. Here's the Master Grade's manipulators, and again the plus that you're going to get a different gray for the guard on the outside than you are for the actual inner frame. Now, some people won't like is that you're going to have the solid fingers here, so you pop these off and you're going to have 3 sets in total. You're going to have the clenched ones, the weapon holding ones, and the 4 fingers pointing in destiny. Reminds me of Turn A Gundam. I'm going to wrap up this look at the parts here. Don't forget to stay tuned for the next part to see all the weapons and everything else before this whole thing gets put together. Thanks for watching, everybody. Robert184 Gundam.tk. Let me know what you think of the parts and the video itself with a comment down below. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. So, when you're in your black mode, is that like Trans Am?